All right, you already know what time it is. You know where you are. Mob stories, Big Rich, Queens, live and direct. You know how we do. We get down to business. We don't waste time. We don't, listen, time is money and money is time. And we may just have enough time to make some money. So let's get down to business because if it ain't about money, then I don't know what you're doing. First of all, wipe your feet on the rug before you come into the room. You know how we do. I need everybody who's smoking to leave comments in the room about what you're smoking on. All right, and I like to know. I got some purple platinum Kush mixed with a little bit of Lord Walker Skywalker Kush mixed with a little bit of OG Kush live resin. So, Minke, let me light this up and blow some smoke in the atmosphere. And let me do my little part to help this, community grow. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Mm. Remember when people used to just hold it in and just hold it in and just hold it in and just hold it in. Then exhale. That's how you get really nice, right? All right, let's get down to business. Fucking disgracia, David Evangelista. Disgracia. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, great morning show today, by the way. If you guys missed it, go back and listen to it. Some funny shit this morning. Giving out that work as usual. Tescavats putana and a fucking loser bum. But let's get right down into business. Prison snitch in mob murder case was ready to finger anyone, even his brother. Disgracia. This is David Evangelista. We were talking about it in the morning show and Saturday night show. David Evangelista. This fucking guy has makes up stories like he's writing for Hollywood. It's a disgrace. And Kathy Sibelia Skavats, what are you doing? Allowing such fucking trash to take the stand. I hope the jury. I pray to the universe. I hope the jury can see the desperation of the feds. Let's get right into business. Prison snitch and mob murder case was ready to finger anyone, even his brother. He was a jailhouse snitch in search of a target. A key prosecution witness in the Michael Meldish mob murder trial admitted on the witness stand that before he landed in the same federal lockup as the accused getaway driver in the Meldish rubout, he told the FBI he was willing to give up several other alleged killers, including his own brother. During two contentious days on the stand, defense lawyers got witness David Evangelista to admit that 5 months before he met mobster Christopher Landano, who allegedly drove the car in the Meldish hit, he met secretly with FBI agents and federal prosecutors in a failed effort to sell himself as a cooperating witness. Upon court records and his own testimony, defense attorneys portrayed Evangelista as a professional stool pigeon who made up lies against four Lucchese gangsters in an effort to get a time-served sentence of 2 or 3 years rather than 20 years behind bars for bank robbery and escape convictions. His first proffer session with federal prosecutors and agents, he said, was in December of 2016, 3 days after he was arrested and charged with escaping from a halfway house in mid-November and with robbing two Manhattan banks during the 3-week stretch in order to feed a heroin craving he has had for many years. He's a fucking dopehead. He's a junkie. Can't be trusted. Once you got that monkey on your back, you don't know how to act. Evangelista, 44, testified he was depressed about being behind bars. I can imagine so. But admitted he never planned to kill himself. He faked suicide tendencies and lied to prison guards to obtain better housing in the 6 federal prisons where he's been housed. He also admitted that he picked and chose selected fellow inmates to finger for possessing weapons or other contraband in prison. Except for the 3 months in late 2016, Evangelista, a drug-abusing serial bank robber who was sentenced to 12 and a half years in 2006, has been behind bars ever since. Placed in a Bronx halfway house in September of 2016, he escaped on November 15, and he was arrested in jail on December 4th. Evangelista pled guilty to escape and bank robbery in May of 2017 with a standard plea deal calling for a recommended prison term of 20 years. On day one of his testimony, wearing an orange jumpsuit, Evangelista testified that he pled guilty last month to the same crimes and others as part of a cooperation agreement and hopes to receive a sentence of time served. In his December 7 meeting, Evangelista gave the feds information and offered to work undercover to help them solve an East Harlem murder by former halfway house pal. If they weren't interested in that one, he also offered to help make a case against an inmate with ties to ISIS. To top his offer, he said, let me top you off, you know what I'm saying? He said he would help the feds prosecute Nick Tartaglione, the former Briarcliff Manor cop awaiting trial for a 2016 quadruple drug murder. Even though Evangelista was exposed as even eating other people's bran flakes, he said. The testimony raised the temperature in the courtroom. White Plains federal judge Kathy Seibel Yiskivats found it necessary to admonish prosecutors and attorneys for Londonio and accused triggermen Terrence Ted Caldwell, John Marangolo, and George Goltzer several times while Evangelista was on the stand. His testimony included numerous angry exchanges between the attorneys and prosecutors Hagen Skine and Alexandra Rothman, who accused each other of unethical conduct. Even before Evangelista took the stand, the government's simmering animosity for the no-holds-barred confrontational style of Marangolo, who has won acquittals in his last two trials against Southern District of New York prosecutors, boiled over in an open court where prosecutor Scott called the attorney a liar as he questioned a prison official. Scott said it as Marangolo was grilling the government witness before Evangelista. Timothy Geyer, a Bureau of Prisons official who interviewed him on August 1st, 2017, the day he reported that Londonio was planning to escape from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. At a sidebar conference, Anthony DiPietro, the lawyer for underboss Stevie Wonder Crea, told the judge that he and members of the jury heard Scott tell Marangolo something about him being a liar and asked for a mistrial on the grounds that the prejudicial spillover of the prosecutor's improper remark would deprive his client of his right to a fair trial. Scott conceded that his remark certainly was wrong and improper, but stated that he did not think the jury heard it. He argued that Marangolo should share the blame with him because he was out of control by continuing to display a blatant disregard for the judge's rulings and asking so many improper questions that caused me to be out of control, said Scott. Seibel agreed that the prosecutor's remark was improper, but ruled that it did not cause any prejudice to Mr. Crea and denied Pietro's motion for a mistrial. The judge issued a stern warning to Marangolo, telling him he was a lot more sophisticated and smart than he pretended to be. While his shtick of not comprehending her rulings were very entertaining, the judge said she would call him out if he continued to disregard her rulings and do things as she regarded as improper. But Seibel, a former federal prosecutor of 21 years, 19 of them for the same flagship U.S. Attorney's Office as Scott, she was even more critical of the prosecutor. She chastised him for being more out of control than Mr. Marangolo and then gave him a lecture. Mr. Scott, you have to know that it's completely out of line to say something like that, whether or not it's in the jury's presence, the judge said. It is not what we expect from professionals, let alone assistant U.S. attorneys, number one. Number two, you shake your head yes and you shake your head no. You smile and you frown, she said. That's it. You keep a stone face. That wasn't the only time that Seibel was critical of Marangolo's questioning of Geyer or of Evangelista. She upheld objections to questions that the lawyer asked both witnesses about several inconsistencies about their testimony about Geyer's interview of Evangelista. And it wasn't the only time she told Scott, who was essentially a spectator during the testimony of Geyer and Evangelista, to stop making facial gestures. While one of the defense lawyers or prosecutor Rothman was questioning Geyer or Evangelista. During a heated two-day discussion while jurors were on a break, Judge Seibel blew her cool and told all the attorneys to shut the fuck up and start acting like lawyers. It happened after a particularly effective cross-examination in which Goltzer got Evangelista to admit several lies, including lying to the jury about the real reason he left the halfway house to satisfy a heroin addiction he maintained while behind bars for bank robberies going back to 2005. Shut up, the judge said. Everyone, you guys are really trying my patience with a bunch of things. Number one is something I've been saying since day one, which is shut the fuck up and stop talking in side conversations while other things are going on in court. And stop talking to each other and stop talking over one another. Don't you understand? This is a trial. Number two, said the Skivats, everybody has to stop with the personal attacks on the lawyers. The record will reflect what happened at the sidebar. Everybody needs to calm the fuck down. I'm a little hot under the collar too, which is why I just told you to shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you talk too much. Prosecutor Rothman had begun the discussion by complaining that Goltzer had improperly informed the jury about Evangelista's drug addiction, which the government acknowledged existed going back to 2013 at least, when the judge had ruled that it was irrelevant. Why would it be irrelevant that the guy's a fucking junkie? Junkies lie. Even if they don't want to lie, they have to lie. Here's why. Because they're not thinking in terms of reality. They're thinking of how the fuck am I going to get this next hit? I'll say what I gotta. I'll do what I gotta because I can't be sick. That sickness is unbearable for junkies. So they will do and say what they gotta. That should be fucking very important in this fucking trial. During a long back and forth, Goltzer argued that prosecutors had created the problem by telling the witness that his drug addiction would not be brought up at the trial. And that's when Goltzer asked why he escaped. He lied that it was over family issues. His drug addiction wasn't the main issue, but his knee-jerk decision to lie about it was, said Goltzer. They should have objected when I asked a question, he said. Instead, Goltzer continued, when I caught the guy in a lie, that's when they cut me off and accused me of misconduct. So what kind of fucking courtroom? We just proved, or they just proved, that David Evangelista lied once. Why? Because he wanted to get high. How many times you think this fucking piece of shit, this Graciad, has lied in his fucking life to get a fix? This is a fucking junkie scumbag. No honor. He has none. This is a man without honor. And this is who you put on the stand to fucking that holds the fate over 4 to 5 guys. I mean, they could be going away for fucking life over this guy. Get the fuck out of here. Trying to figure out how jurors feel about evidence as they see and hear it is impossible to read. They may be too busy wagering among themselves which lawyer will be the first to get hit with contempt, or whether the judge will lose it completely before the trial is over. We should know the answer as early as next week. That's when the jury is expected to begin weighing the evidence that Evangelista and other witnesses supplied and decide whether Londanio Caldwell Crayer and former acting boss Matthew Matty Madonna, we hope you come home, Matty, are guilty of the Meldish murder and other racketeering charges. What guilty? These are fucking low-life drug dealer, fucking gun-selling, unhonorable men that would snitch on their own mother and father to get a fix. Get the fuck out of here. Great article. Of course, salute. You know the team that brings it to you. It's right on the goddamn banner. We need you to like this video. We need you to like the video. We need you to tell your friends. All right? We need this channel to grow. We got big plans for this channel. You understand what I'm saying? Light up, throw some smoke in the atmosphere. We will talk soon. Salute.